Trans Day of Remembrance brings hope and resilience to South Florida. November marks a powerful month of remembrance, advocacy, and celebration for South Florida's transgender community, bringing together activists, allies, and community leaders. TransInclusive Group is rallying support for trans equality in Florida through a series of events. On November 14th, the community is invited to a reflective evening of discussion on transgender rights and resilience at the Our Fund Foundation Auditorium in Fort Lauderdale. Moderated by Nik Harris, the panel will include key figures like Buchanan of TransInclusive Group, the mental health clinician Nik Harris, and Regina Gerbier, a transgender activist and educator. The next scheduled event is on November 20th. On this day, TransInclusive Group, Arianna Center, and Trans Social will hold a TDOR march at Justin Flippen Park in Wilton Manors, followed by a memorial service at the Pride Center at Equality Park. The TDOR celebration will conclude on November 26th with the 10th Annual Transgender Equality Awards. The event will celebrate trans advocates, healthcare providers, and community organizations working toward transgender equality. The award ceremony will be hosted by Missy Meyakie LePaige. More details can be found at transinclusivegroup.org. Well, I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about this story. In my opinion, I think that this could not be a more important story. Trans rights really are queer rights, and I think that's probably obvious to everybody out there. But trans rights are also gay rights. You can be both. Trans rights are also straight rights too. I mean, gender identity flows through every sexuality.
That's very true. I agree with you. And, I think that we need to educate, and I can't say that enough. I'm very privileged to have come down here and had the opportunity to be introduced to Candace Kane and Dana Davis of Marriott's Mary Productions. And I've gone from being a background actor and extra to being an associate producer working with these fine women. And I can't imagine the world without their talent, their light, but I've met so many wonderful people through them. Right now we're working on a documentary, and I won't go into all the detail, but we have had some great interviews with wonderful trans men and women. And, I've had the opportunity in the past, and we can't dim that light. But as you said, Mark, you look at the spectrum of people who, they identify as straight, trans, lesbian, trans, the whole spectrum. I had the opportunity back in New York to work with a wonderful, wonderful director of film, Anthony, and, he was amazing. And, I think of many others that I've met in our community. And I think that, we need to educate people and, bring it to the surface so that people aren't afraid. We're not looking to meet a quota. Certainly there are people we certainly don't want in our spectrum. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but, there are just some people out there who use the Bible as a shield, and they forget about what it's all about, love and supporting your fellow mankind or womankind or transkind. And, I think it's time is here, and I think it's something that we need to be there. I know there's another story coming up, and I won't steal the thunder on that, but it's scary when you see people infighting in our community saying, well, why do we need to support them? The same reason that we were supported by many others, whether it's the Black community, Latino community, when, the Mattachine Society developed, in the 50s and 60s, if I got my decades correct. So very important.
Now, you made a good point about the rights, and I want to paraphrase Hillary Clinton for a second. Trans rights are human rights, and human rights are trans rights.
Absolutely.
But the thing that I think that makes the Transgender Day of Remembrance so important is people often, they want to try and talk about all these really random things. The right's always trying to make up these lies about sports and bathrooms. Transgender Day of Remembrance is about trans murders at the end of the day. This is a group that is uniquely affected by violence, compared to anyone else in the LGBTQ community right now. Especially Black trans women are put at extreme danger often in our society. And that's why I think this sort of day is so important, especially right now. The next time someone tries to tell you like all these random weird things that they're trying to say about our community or about trans people, like, it's about trying to protect our lives to exist.